In Dominica, there is an extraordinary doctor. And on our fathers join a girl. Hey, this is Sai, and you're watching SAT TV. Big up SAT, big up SAT, big up SAT.
Whenever the iron play, I'll be there. Wherever the steel band play, I'll be there. Anytime it's carnival, yo, festival, bacchanal, behind the big truck, down the road, everybody, they know that I'll be there. Yo, this is Mr. Challenge. You're watching SAT TV, the people's choice.
Yo, this is Ace Banton in SAT building, baby. You're watching SAT Telecom. That's the #1 choice. Boom!
Good evening, I am Desmond Joseph and welcome to SAT TV News. Among the major developments, new workshop aimed at empowering women. Now it's Barbados' turn to go to the polls. Oscar Pistorius detective on attempted murder charges. And in sports, Table Tennis Association schedules special general meeting. Details of these and other stories after the break.
SAT TV.
Drink your drink.
SAT TV.
SAT Telecom.
SAT TV.
Crossfire the bomb.
SAT TV.
Dominica the norm.
TV.
Yeah man, SAT TV, Crossfire.
The people's choice.
That's
for real.
right.
Welcome back. The Dominica Association of Persons with Disabilities has taken their educational and advocacy program to a different level and at the same time built its resource base. This is being communicated through the production of a series of short videos where the association highlighted some of the challenges that persons with disabilities experience based on the issues they have been voicing over the years. Therefore, 2 videos were produced for DAPD. The first video focused on the environment and the other on education. The video features all the various obstacles that persons with disabilities encounter when they try to access the environment as well as getting an education.
What we have done also is to develop another video where we are going to highlight the work of the organization, and we are going to use that as a means of getting persons to understand what the association is all about, and hopefully that more persons will come forward to support the work that we do. The videos were produced by film producer Miho from Japan. She was brought here by the Japan International Cooperation Agency in September.
Mrs. Murphy said the production is supposed to be formally presented to DAPD on Sunday, February 24th, where a farewell party is being arranged for the Japanese volunteers who will be leaving on February 26th. She hopes the video will change the public's mentality and perception of people with disabilities and at the same time take concrete steps to change some of the disabling conditions that presently exist.
In terms of access to the physical environment, in terms of ensuring that people with disabilities, of children of school age who have to be educated will be able to access the school system and get the education and be trained. It all has to do with building our awareness programs and hopefully taking the process of the implementation of the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities out there so that we can begin to see changes in various ways.
She explains where the idea for the video originated from.
Okay, well, the video was a suggestion of Mr. Tatsuya Morita, who is the JICA resident representative, who felt that based on all the work that the association has been doing in terms of going out, having workshops, having media programs on a short-term basis, the videos are going to be used in ongoing activities, and it's going to be, you know, as I said, a resource for the association to go out there and continue to advocate even louder and extend, you know, our horizons as much as possible.
The video was produced by Japanese volunteer Miho, who Mrs. Murphy believes worked extremely hard during her time at DAPD. Mrs. Murphy says Mio really did put herself out there to ensure that she developed a flawless video for DAPD. Mio also visited schools to observe how disabled people access their classes and move around, as well as institutions that take care of such persons. Mrs. Murphy noted that the volunteers worked extremely hard from the moment that they arrived in Dominica, and they will be missed. In more news, following the close of the 2013 Calypso season, former head of the Carnival Organizing Committee, Mr. Alwyn Bully, made a number of recommendations to the Dominica Calypso Association, DCA, for the improvement of Calypso in Dominica. Vice President of DCA, Mr. Davison Victor, mentioned that the association tried their best in the promotion of Calypsos, hence the reason for shows throughout the Calypso season. However, the Calypsonians and their management teams can do more to market their individual songs. He also spoke on the lack of rules and regulations of the association.
And as an association, you can never cater for all the mistakes that men are going to make. You understand? Because man in their own way will make the mistakes, man will do whatever they have to do. What it is important is that when mistakes are made, or when actions come up, what will be our reaction? Now that something like that has happened in Calypso, or perceived to have happened in Calypso regarding the hunter, we never had any rules written saying that you can penalize somebody. But for the future, one of the things we will definitely put in place is that we will make it clear on paper that nobody can have anything written anywhere, not on their hand, not on their face, not on their placard, not on a script, not on their presentation. Nothing to do with your song must be written anywhere.
He says in future, the DCA will have a number of rules and regulations implemented, so all Calypsonians will be guided as to what they can and cannot do during their performances at any Calypso competition. Mr. Victor pointed out the DCA's executive will meet very soon to seek other solutions to issues and concerns that were raised during the 2013 Calypso season.
Another suggestion another concern that Alwyn Bully had was also in terms of the documentation of the Calypsos. We as an association, every year we always give a TV station, a television station, the rights to come and record all our shows down to the elimination, quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals. So in terms of the documentation, we have the Calypsos documented. What I think that we need to do as an association is to have our own archives. Because if, for example, I want a quarterfinals from 5 years ago, I can go to Mapping or SAT and get it. But in the Calypso Association, if somebody comes to the Calypso Association house presently, they'll not be able to get it. So in terms of we having our own archives, I think this is a very good idea, and that is something we'll definitely put in place this year. But in terms of the documentation, the Calypsos are documented, it's just that we have to have our own archives.
In responding to the DCA having its own website, where the Calypsonian songs, lyrics of their songs, their songwriters, and their identification will be published for all to have, Mr. Victor pointed out that this is a brilliant idea. Although it may be costly in maintaining the website, he says this is one idea from Mr. Bully that the association recognized, as it means taking advantage of technology for development, which will also help in the exposure of the Calypsonians' work. Mr. Victor mentioned that DCA is in the process of setting up a directory for the association where anyone can call for information on the Calypsonian as it relates to Calypso. The DCA's vice president also spoke on the concerns raised by the public where certain Calypsonians were victimized by judges for the political affiliation.
Well, one of the things that one of the things that the Calypso Association don't have much control of is human nature. And regardless of what system you put in place, the human element is always going to have some influence as to what goes on. Politics will be there probably till we die. We meet it there and we're going to leave it there. Calypso is an art form that's going to be there for a very long time. You understand? At least we foresee that. Now, what can you really do when you trust people and put them in a privileged position to do a job, and you expect them, as a matter of respect, you expect them to do the best job that they can do when a Calypsonian presents him or herself to them with their song.
He added that what association is able to do is give the judges a scorecard with their standards, which is the only thing they have to use to judge the Calypsonians. As a form of respect and honesty to the DCA, he said the judges should keep those guidelines on their scoring sheet and not their personal motives and or influence to do the job they are entrusted to do. To ensure this is done, the DCA Vice President went on to say they will continue to host workshops for the judges to limit the issue of unfair judging, which is negative publicity for the DCA and the art form of Calypso. In more news, the Marigot Carnival Committee will hold a meeting this weekend to discuss the strengths and weaknesses of Carnival 2013, as well as ways they can improve as a committee to develop next year's Carnival activities. Public Relations Officer of the Marigot Carnival Committee, Mr. Alvin Alexander, says the reason they have taken this approach is to ensure that the energy built in Carnival 2013 will be carried into 2014. Mr. Alexander noted it has been their prime concern over the years to keep the carnival efforts in Marigot as a community-oriented approach, and by seeking to continue to partner with each other.
In 2013, we saw the comeback of a number of, interested community partners involving themselves in Carnival, as this had been a bit dormant for some time. We also saw the resurgence of energies by a number of the village young people into the activities of Carnival. We saw as well the development of a weekly community activity, warm-up activity for the kind of activities which were able to assist the community in its fundraising, or the committee in its fundraising efforts, having not been able to secure a full financial headline sponsor.
The PRO said they will look at different approaches regarding their pageants and the shaping of activities and events held. The committee will use the strengths and weaknesses of 2013 to help analyze how they can move forward. He informed SAT-TV News that the planning for 2014 has already begun.
With a few of the groups and entities that were, engaged in activities for 2013. Namely, I must say this today, that we are thankful to Blue Star Production for their committed interest in the Mass Marigot campaign. We must say thank you to the team of Millennium Sound and Lights for their committed interest. We must as well say thank you to Jenny's Hair and Weaving Services, along with Email Plus for their committed interest. And of course, significantly, we have to say thank you to the many partners who came on board financially.
Overall, Mr. Alexander concluded on behalf of the Marigot Carnival Committee that they were pleased with the 2013 Carnival events and activities. He made mention that the committee has been around for a very long time. However, the younger generation has taken over since 2012. They are re-energized, suggest new and exciting ideas, and work extremely hard towards their target, he added. In other news, the Dominica Youth Environment Organization, Inc., United Nations entity for gender equality and empowerment of women, and Pineland Creative Workshop, has made a collaborative effort to hold a 2-day workshop to continue to examine various avenues that can continue to assist in vulnerable female heads in households. Mr. Rodney Grant of Pineland, Barbados said in his opening remarks that there are ways that women can overcome economic challenges and poverty, namely by establishing businesses. He stated that his organization is trying to push forward for businesses that have the capability of export potential, primarily because of the region individually has a small market base.
And this is particularly important because the businesses that we were focusing on, we're trying to push for what we call businesses that have export potential. And primarily because the region individually, the individual countries have such a small market base. We just left St. Vincent and they have a population size of about 120,000 people. Collectively, Barbados, Dominica, Grenada, and St. Vincent hardly make 1 million people.
Chief Youth Development Officer, Mr. John Roach, applauded all three organizations for its efforts to the workshop. He praised the women for taking the stand to be in the backbone of society and said this effort to empower women is a worthy cause. Mr. Roach said they try to create a balance by not training only women. He supports the work of DYEO and will make resources available to businesses that are showing promise.
I want to say that the Youth Development Division, as Terry mentioned, that DYEO is an NGO, which is a non-government organization, which is independent of the Youth Development Division. But as head of the division, I want to ensure that I support the work that DYEO is doing, and Terry will always be granted time and to make sure that DYEO is empowered.
Ms. Paul, a representative of the Registrar Commission of Cooperatives, began by appraising women. This is what she had to say.
We are most times the head of the household, and we are the ones who most time keeps the families together. A cooperative is a member-owned and controlled business that operates for the mutual benefits of its members. And so too, we know women, whatever they do, they think of the mutual benefit of not just themselves, but their families, the schools, the churches, the society on a whole.
Honorable Gloria Shillingford, though under the weather, made an effort to attend the first day workshop as she was the main initiator in the foundation of this workshop. She stressed that the theme of economic empowerment struck her as a brilliant strategy to advance our common goals of the empowerment of women. She said education is the cornerstone of the empowerment process, so by creating an enabling forum for women to be educated on enterprise development through cooperatives, we are starting off on the right foot. Ms. Shillingford observed that we should keep proper financial record, accountability, investor confidence, access to credit facilities, and mainly sustainable growth for our business. She encouraged those present to be equipped for the important sessions of financial management on day 2.
Proper financial records, improve accountability, investor confidence, access to credit facilities, and most of all, sustainable growth for our business. I encourage those present today to show up early tomorrow as well for all important sessions on financial management.
In more news, it was a frightening and awkward experience for one young driver when she lost control of a vehicle which ran into a parked vehicle on the afternoon of Wednesday, February 20th, 2013. The strange incident, which occurred in Roseau at about 3 p.m., attracted a number of onlookers curious to find out what happened. One eyewitness at the scene said the daughter of the owner of a small business had just arrived and was parking a Hyundai car registration number PN738 in an empty parking spot in front of Courts. She said all of a sudden she heard a loud noise and noticed that the car partially underneath a bus registration number HB736, which was parked on the opposite side of the road. The eyewitness added she is still confused as to how the young girl lost control while parking her car. The force of the impact pushed the bus off the road, over a gutter and onto the sidewalk before it came to a stop. Speaking with the driver of the bus, Mr. Ferdinand George of Maho, He stated he parked his bus safely on the side of the road, then went into a store nearby to carry out a transaction. While inside, he heard a loud noise and immediately ran outside, where he saw a car had collided with his bus. Both vehicles suffered significant damage as a result of the collision, however, no one was injured. And in more news, the Dominica Freedom Party has extended congratulations to Dr. Keith Mitchell and his new national party on their landslide victory at the polls in the Grenada general election held on Tuesday, February 19, 2013. Grenadans prefer performance and result-oriented government over personality and personal gain. They believe Dr. Mitchell and the new national party can take over the reins of government and will move their country forward for the next 5 years. The Dominica Freedom Party wish also to compliment the people of Grenada, Curaçao, and Petite Martinique for exercising their franchise in such a peaceful and focused manner. They advise that Grenada remains united and engaged to tackle together the many challenges confronting their country. The Dominica Freedom Party wish Dr. Keith Mitchell and his team well as they prepare to take over the reins of government amongst the socio-economic crisis confronting Grenada, the region, and the international community. The DFP recommends that a people-centered approach to development will help significantly with transparency, honesty, the rule of law, justice, and liability. And in court news, one man will have some time to think of his actions after he was sentenced to 12 months in prison on Thursday, February 21, 2013 by Magistrate Candia Judge at the Roseau Magistrates Court following his guilty plea to theft and malicious damage. Following the discovery of a damaged door and items missing on February 29, 2013 by a supervisor at Minia's 7-Eleven Minimart, the police was called to investigate. During the investigations, the investigating officer met with Mervyn Charles, who resides at Roseau, who confessed to the crime when questioned. According to the facts of the case, Charles damaged a wooden door and an iron gate to gain entry into the supermarket at about 2 a.m. on Monday, January 28th, where he stole 6 200mm bottles and 12 700mm bottles of Appleton White Rum. The value of the items is $288.64. The mitigation at court, Charles stated that he is going through a trend in life, however he does not want to make any excuses for his actions. He revealed that he went to a rehabilitation program which was good for him, as for the last 2 years and 4 months he has been out of trouble until now, but drugs affected his judgment. Magistrate Judge advised Charles to get help for another rehabilitation program when released, so he can do something meaningful with his life and stop being a repeat offender. In more court news, Yannick Lander, accused of murder, will have to wait until February 28, 2013 for a bail application to be made on his behalf. Lander, who appeared at the Roseau Magistrates Court on Thursday, February 21, 2013, was denied bail. During his appearance, his feet were in shackles while his hands were handcuffed behind his back as he had attacked a prisoner at the Magistrates Court on Thursday, February 14, 2013. It took an estimated 6 police officers to restrain him for his bleeding victim, who was helpless following the attack. Lander was charged with the murder of Dwayne Pinard of Castle Comfort in 2008, but was granted bail in 2010. However, while on bail, he reportedly attacked Kyle David and has been remanded in custody for that offense. This has been the local segment of the news. Coming up next, regional highlights.
Hello, I'm Christian Abidal of Zouk Machine. You know that SAT TV is the people's choice?
Yo, gang to the Zilla, you're watching SAT Telecom, the people them choice. Hear that, Rasta.